Thank you for downloading this podcast from the British Theatre Guide. For more information about British Theatre Guide, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.
Manchester's Royal Exchange Theatre has been championing new work through a high-profile playwriting competition for most of its existence. In the 1980s, it was the Mobile Playwriting Competition, and since 2005, it has been the Bruntwood Prize for Playwriting, sponsored by the Manchester-based property company whose name it bears. Normally running every 2 years, but delayed this time due to COVID, the first awards ceremony since 2019 was held at the Royal Exchange on the 14th of November 2022, when excerpts from the 9 shortlisted scripts, plus 5 shortlisted for the International Prize, chosen from the 1,900 plays submitted, were performed before the winners were announced. The Bruntwood Prize International Award of £8,000, introduced in 2019, went to Rochelle Fong from Melbourne, Australia, for her play The Red Lead. A new Northwest Original New Voice Award with a prize of £8,000 plus £10,000 towards professional development at the Exchange went to Patrick Hughes from Liverpool for Leave the Morning to the Morning. The Judges' Award of £8,000 was awarded remotely to Martha Loader from Ipswich, joining the ceremony via Zoom for Bindweed. Finally, the winner of the £16,000 Bruntwood Prize for Playwriting was announced as Birmingham-based actor Nathan Queeley-Dennis for Bullring Techno Makeout Jams. I spoke to the 3 winners who were present immediately after the ceremony. So here, in the order in which their awards were announced, are Rochelle Fong, followed by Patrick Hughes, and finally, Nathan Queeley-Dennis.
My name's Rochelle Fong, and I just won the Bruntwood International Prize for my play, The Red Lead.
Okay, and how does it feel to have just won the prize?
I'm not sure. I'm still a bit in shock. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was so happy just being able to come over here for it. I really, I was telling someone, being flown over was like just such an honour. And then I bumped into someone from Married at First Sight UK on the train over, and I was like, I'm done. This has been amazing. I can't wait. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag of emotions. I think that all of the plays were absolutely incredible, and especially knowing the weight of the stories and the other stories from Australia as well. I guess I just want us all to have our work seen far and wide, and it's amazing. It's a real honour, and I'm excited to keep working on the script. And I've been workshopping it since I submitted it, and to get some more support to keep doing that, and just talking to more people and having more brave rooms where we can tackle, big social issues, but with some irreverence and hopefully some collective healing and joy. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for all the people that hopefully I'll get to work with on it in future.
So you should probably say what the play's about then, what it covers.
So the play is based on a true historical event in 1542 in the Ming Dynasty. Basically, there was an emperor called the Jiajing Emperor who ruled the roost in the Forbidden City, and he would harvest the menstrual blood of virgin girls to consume their menstrual blood as part of an elixir of longevity. So it's based on an assassination attempt against that emperor and the women who were behind it. And I guess I've tried to use an anachronistic kind of tragic comedy style to bring these women to life and to imagine who they might have been, to give them the swagger that they deserve, to kind of, just sort of represent them in a 3-dimensional way. And I guess asking myself, like, at what point do I step up and speak out and kind of convert all of my fear and my conditioning and all of that stuff into just kind of fearless activism, I suppose. Yeah.
So where did the story come from? Why did you feel you had to write this story?
So I had initially been reading about it's called Death by 1,000 Cuts, and kind of this daily experience of death by 1,000 cuts that folks experience living under dictatorships or if they're censored. And in that research, I came across the execution method, Ling Chi, which was a literal death by 1,000 cuts. So these people would be tortured over several days, and this kind of slow death was used as punishment, and so that they would be kind of on display for people to, be afraid of the government and be warned not to do anything, not to step out of line. So after I found out about this, that led me to a podcast that talked about this specific incident and the women who rose up, and finding out that 1542 was the year of the water tiger, which is the same as 2022. So this is once every 60 years we get a year of the water tiger. And that year is kind of characterised by a lot of social change and movement, but also the water aspect is kind of a soft strength, I suppose. I think that really made me go, well, I have to tell this before the year's out, because there's something kind of connected between that event and the present day.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell it was quite an emotional speech that you gave when you were accepting the award, and it's obviously the play, the story means a lot to you to tell that story. It's not just about winning an award, is it?
No, yeah, that's right. I guess for me it's about continuing to push myself to make the change in the world that I want to see, and to get that strength from wherever I can. And writing this play has been part of this process of trying to look to the past and get strength from my own ancestors and others who've come before to really be inspired, I suppose, to think about what I might be able to do.
Yeah. Well, what was it like to see some of it come to life in front of an audience, though, today?
It was a cracker. I really enjoyed it. The director was amazing, and the actors. I think the physical comedy made me so happy, because it really nailed the tone of the whole play, which is kind of straddling this the horrific realities of the Forbidden City, but also a kind of I do want the audience to feel like they can't help but laugh and sit in that discomfort. And
there was certainly some laughter and some discomfort from the scene that we saw.
I was really pleased with it. It was great. Yeah.
And now you've got an award to take back on the plane with you.
Yes. It's all very surreal still.
So where does it go from here, the play?
Well, I guess I'll continue developing it now with the Royal Exchange Theatre's support, so that's very exciting. And I've been working on it as well this year as part of my master's degree, so I'll just keep working on it. I've kind of inserted some confessionals because my background's in digital and video production, so I've got a bit of Love Island reference in there.
Doesn't sound very 16th century.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm excited to just keep chipping away at it. I think every time I hear it, it's quite exciting, because I'm like, nope, that doesn't work. That's okay. I guess I've learnt this year to not see it as much as rewriting, and it's just kind of writing, right? It's part of the process, and embracing that process and getting excited about nurturing something, as opposed to how I've normally worked, which is kind of pooping out things and then you put it on and then you're on to the next thing. I think I like this slower method of working. It's good for my soul, I think.
Okay.
I am Paddy Hughes. I am a Scouse playwright, and my plays Leave the Morning to the Morning, and I've just won the New Voices Northwest Award of the Bruntwood Prize. And my play is about a young woman with mental health issues that makes the decision to travel to Amsterdam and end her own life legally because of mental health issues. And I wrote it because I've had a lot of mental health issues, and I saw this news article and I thought, how would I react to that? Because that's not something I want, but it's in the kind of sphere of things that I've experienced. And I just thought, throwing that question out there to the universe in a play, of whether that could ever be something that people would accept as a right thing to do, forms the basis of my play. And I don't have an answer for that at all.
Right.
And I don't think there is a fundamental answer, because the characters in my play, she's quite stoic, the main one, and she knows that's what she wants to do. But her father is the kind of audience surrogate in a way, that he's very like reactionary and saying, this is outrageous, this is like ridiculous. And so the play kind of dances around that and looks at that and asks that question, is that a thing that in society we should be allowing or not? And the play doesn't come up with an answer.
Well, I think theatre's better at asking questions than giving answers, isn't it? You can leave that to the audience, I suppose, can't you?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the worst kind of theatre is didactic theatre that tells you what to think. And hopefully this will be a play that puts that question out there and just makes people more aware of this. And especially in this country where mental health, the way we look after people with mental health isn't good enough right now. This is hopefully a conversation that evokes kind of ideas around that. And it's not a play that's saying, this is what you should do. This is a play that's saying, look how extreme this is, and look how people are actually suffering, and how it is a physical thing as well as a mental thing.
Yeah. Mental health is something that's talked about a lot more than it used to be, certainly in the last few years, but you still don't think that's enough. You still don't think we deal with it in the right way.
I think it's talked about a lot, really brilliantly socially, but I think the fundamental practical things that are in place are not good enough. As someone who went to doctors for mental health issues, you just kind of put on waiting lists, and because of government cuts and mental health services, it's hard to really, like, without paying for private healthcare, it's hard to really like get into that system of help.
Yeah. So what was it like sort of delving into your own experiences of mental health to put that on the page in the form of a play? Was that cathartic, or was it more traumatic? Or?
I think it was cathartic, because there's that truism of like, write what you know, has always been something that I've kind of done in a way.
Yeah.
Like I think the best theatre contains some kind of truth to it. And so I kind of drew upon things that I had experience of, but then kind of put it into another character who thought differently to me. And she said Charlotte, the main character, isn't me in any way, but she has a fragment of me. Yeah. And I think that's really interesting, because humans are just kind of like, we all experience similar things, but then we're all very different. Yeah. So it was cathartic in the way that I could kind of talk about this thing that I had experienced, but she's experienced it in a different way. So it wasn't traumatic for me actually, but it was cathartic. Yeah.
So that shift into putting these thoughts into a character's mouth, that sort of made it a bit safer, I suppose.
It kind of empowers it as well, and it gives it that voice of this kind of person that's way stronger than I was and is doing this thing. I think so. Yeah.
So what does it mean to you, having poured your heart and soul into this play, and then to be given this award on stage?
It's amazing. I didn't expect it. I suppose everyone says that. It's just so nice. This is something I didn't just write like a few months ago. It was something I've written about 2 years ago, and I was kind of like having early conversations with people about it, and it really wasn't doing it. People liked it, but didn't really like, I don't know, it was hard to get things programmed. So just to have the recognition of the Royal Exchange, a theatre that I've been going to since I was young. Yeah. I grew up in Liverpool, and I would obviously go to the Everyman in Liverpool, and then I'd go to the Exchange, Royal Exchange. And I moved away for a bit and lived in London for 6 years, but these places when I returned would be the Royal Exchange in here. And it's so nice to be in this, to be acknowledged by a theatre that I've grown up loving. And some of the best plays I've seen here have been Bruntwood Awards or Judges Awards or variations of that. So it's kind of inspiring to be kind of part of that conversation. It's when we saw at the very beginning that all these people like Anna Jordan, James Fritz, these people have seen their work, and now I am at the tail end of that list, and it's like crazy. So it's kind of not sunk in really. And I suppose for them, they were at this kind of point of their career as well, and they probably thought the people, Duncan Macmillan or whatever, who came before them were. So it's exciting. I moved back to the Northwest to start creating work, and I was doing a lot of work in London, working for other people as a PA, helping them create work, and it was a really invaluable experience. But it's time for me to now focus on my work and draw from that, but focus on what I want to say and what I have to say about things and give it a go.
So the award and the money that goes with it, is that going to help you to do that, do you think?
Yeah, 100%, because I've just started freelance life about 2 months ago, and I'm still getting to grips with that. So having this, not just a bit of money from the prize, but having a year of attachment with a seeded kind of commission with that was going to be invaluable to me, to make me be able to focus on that. And as someone from the Northwest, having that, and I'm not sure what the thing is going forward with this, whether it's going to be Northwest continuously, but it's such an invaluable thing, and I feel very privileged and lucky to be part of that.
Yeah, not only part of it, the first one for this particular prize. So you might be at the end of one list, but you're actually at the beginning. You'll always be the first name on the list.
Exactly,
for this one, won't you?
So it's exciting, and just to be the people that have won the other awards are amazing writers, and just meeting them today, it's such a nice company.
And seeing your play performed, or a part of your play performed by actors in front of an audience, and getting that audience response, what was that like?
That's what changes a play from being a script to being a play. I feel like the minute it's spoken aloud by actors, because they're so collaborative, they turn it into a play. So it was so nice to speak to the director, and they put their spin on it, the actors put their spin on it, and it's so nice to have it into that next journey from being a script on a page to being this amazing. And they're off book. I just expected it to be sat down with the scripts, and that would have been great. Yeah. And just the nuances and the incredible performances were more than I expected.
Yeah, very impressive. But watching that, does that give you ideas of where the play can go as you develop it?
I think it's always been something. I've just wanted it to be realised, so having that taste of it makes me seeing it on stage makes me realise that it can be a play that there's a production of, and I think that it gives me confidence that this is a play that has legs and it can be performed, whether it's in the Royal Exchange or anywhere else. But it quite likely will be Royal Exchange and publication from Nick Hearn as well. So it's the start of an exciting journey, and a lot of it is about being from the Northwest and having this kind of, because I started in the Everyman Youth Theatre's the Young Writers course. I was on attachment with Box of Tricks in Manchester, so I owe a lot of this knowledge, and everything that makes my work is all Northwest based, and obviously being in London I did pick things up and made connections. It was great, but like the core of me and as a writer and a storyteller comes from the Northwest.
Okay, so it might be a daft question, but you've just won the Bruntwood Prize for Playwriting, top prize. So how does that feel?
Honestly, like it's nuts. It's still like I say, it happened like 10-15 minutes ago. I'm still kind of in the whirlwind of everything. Yeah. Nothing's quite sunk in yet. It's beyond words. It's like the biggest, proudest, happiest, greatest moment of my career thus far. And
your career as a playwright has only just begun. You haven't actually written a play before.
No, this was my first play, and it was my first play, and I've got to write more now. I've got to write more after this, but I'll focus on Boring right now. Boring's like my Boring Techno Makeout Jams is my baby. I love it to death. I love it even more now. And
Well, your influences, you were saying on the bit of film in the interview that we saw before, your influences aren't really theatre, and we saw that from the clip. We had a brilliant performer. Yeah. It was basically stand-up comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I never actually saw it as a stand-up comedy piece or something that was like kind of funny. And it's not a stand-up comedy piece per se, but it really draws on the elements of that, especially early on in the piece. And I can't quite put into words like how blown away I was watching it be performed in that style. And it just like open. It's a beautiful thing. I'm an actor as well. Yeah. And I'm an actor first and foremost, really. Not
and a playwright now.
Yeah, and a playwright. But like seeing it done in the way it was done is it was so like fulfilling, and I definitely do see those inspirations of it, and I think playing on that with the play is gonna only make it shine,
Yeah, so you've been part of that experience for other writers of bringing it to life, but seeing your own words come to life on the stage, that's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because I say some weird stuff. Like, there's weirder stuff in the play that wasn't in the ceremony that's said, and like, yeah, I can't believe like there's going to be a point where that's maybe a thing, you know? That's just, yeah.
So what's the play actually about? What's the story of it?
Boring Techno Makeout Jams is about a young man in his mid-20s, and he's kind of going through the stresses and turmoils of general life, and he has this like sunny exterior, and I guess everything feels like it's going well. It's always like everything's great. And actually, you kind of don't really realise until like the very end that actually everything isn't great and things aren't as well as they seem. But within that, it's woven with a fair bit of comedy, like music, just vibes, you know?
And the style of it, you say part of it's like stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Does it vary in style? Are there more than one actor?
It's interesting. There could be. Right. There's other characters. I guess it's for this director to decide aside from me. But
that's somebody else's problem.
Yeah, somebody else's problem. However you want to do it, as long as it's done well, I don't care. But yeah, like there's other bits. I guess I don't want to give away too much now. I don't know. But there's other characters that do appear, and it's just how do they appear, and that's an interesting way to play with the form. Like I say, I feel like I split it into 4 parts, and I wrote it in 4 parts, and I feel like the first part is probably the most stand-up inspired, where it's just somebody just talking and riffing for ages, and then the other bits they kind of bring in different elements, which yeah.
So how much of this? A lot of people's first play is based on their own experience, their own life to some extent. Is this one?
Yeah and no. Like, I'm not as sad as my character, I wouldn't say. Like, life ain't that tough for me, especially now. Yeah, like somebody said something really good the other day, and I was like, if someone ever asks me about boring, I'm going to say that, and now I can't remember it. And it was something like fictional, non-fiction or something like that, and I was like, oh, that's nice, I might use that. But in fact, I don't. In case the person. Autobiographical fiction.
Right.
That's it. That was my girlfriend. Thank you, Alice. Who's I said in my speech is also like my copywriter, who quite clearly now is
prompter.
My prompter and like PR. But she's great. So yeah, there's all of those things going on. But I wouldn't say I'd say there's an element of it. I use elements from life and feeling. A lot of the feeling is me. But the general story, not so much.
And you say you're an actor. I noticed one or two of the other writers in the shortlist were actors as well. Do you think that's significant for this? Is it a lockdown thing, perhaps, when people weren't employed?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think as an actor, you have a lot more... Not a lot more. You understand form so much differently to a writer and a full-time writer in some respects. Maybe not an experienced full-time writer, but an early first-time writer. That's why so many actors do go into playwriting. Like, I've been acting since I was at college, like full-time basically. I did a BTech in acting. And so since that time, I've been doing plays and devising and creating and doing things in front of audiences. And then I went to drama school and I did that. And then I've worked professionally, like, all over. And I've done that. And like from that, like subconsciously, consciously, you pick up things. And I definitely feel like I've picked things up in terms of... I was saying I made Boring a play that I'd want to see, but I'd also want other people to want to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what it is, I hope.
Yeah.
I think.
So before that, did you have a culture when you were young? Did you have a culture of going to the theatre, or was your influence at that time something else? School took us a bit. I always got chosen to do like the extra bits and like the school nativity, right?
And like things like that. And people would always be like, "Oh, Nathan could be an actor or work in the arts or something." And my auntie was actually really good at getting me out there. And she lives in London. She's from Birmingham, but she lives in London. I grew up in Birmingham. And she, when I was about 8 or 9, took me to watch Billy Elliot in the West End.
Right.
And yeah, I just thought it was great. And then I was like, oh, I could do that. I can't do that, for a full disclaimer. 9-year-old me had a lot more confidence than professional actor me now.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that. But I remember wanting to do it. So my parents were very supportive and like, well, we'll help him do that. He'll enjoy it. And yeah, like my Year 7 teacher had an amateur dramatics group, and she was like, you should go to this. So then I went to that, and then I nearly didn't do GCSE drama because I wanted to be a patent attorney. And then my drama teachers, Miss Downey and Miss Stanford, shout out to them both, they both sat me there and was like, are you an idiot? And then I ended up doing drama. So yeah, it's always been there. I'd never watched as much, but I always enjoyed doing it. It was always the thing I enjoyed to do. I didn't enjoy as much playing football or rugby, even though I did a bit, but I always loved actually
being on stage
and doing drama and doing plays. So yeah.
So the patent attorney's loss is
I mean, who knows? I might have a little divot when I hit my 30s. So.
Well, you came up with an interesting phrase. Was it quarter life crisis?
Quarter life crisis. Yeah. I don't think I coined that term as such, but I'll take as much praise for it as I can get.
Why not?
Yeah.
Maybe it's vulgar to mention the money, but it's a big prize.
Yeah.
I know a previous winner I interviewed, when I said what you're going to do with the money, he said, I need a new kitchen. But have you thought about how that's going to help you?
Yeah, I got to go on holiday. I forgot about the money actually until just now. Yeah, I got to go on holiday.
Maybe your prompter's got some ideas.
Got to go on holiday. Yeah. Got to go big shopping spree at Selfridges. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, and honestly, like, jokes aside, although I'm a writer, my laptop don't work. I need a new laptop. I need a new laptop and I need a new phone. So like, I'll probably invest most of it on practical things to help me go now for the next steps of my career. And then after that, I will have fun. You know, enjoy my mid-20s.
Yes, why not? And it gives you a bit of freedom to think about what you need to do next.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I'm going to do a little plug here. I'm currently actually in rehearsals. I'm here now, but tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'm in rehearsals. I'm currently rehearsing for As You Like It at the Soho Place Theatre, directed by Josie Rourke. So get your tickets to that. Just wanted to throw that in. Yeah. When's this going out?
Probably next week sometime.
Oh, great. Well, so we open from the 6th of December. I'll be there. I'm playing Sylvius, and the cast is great. I won't say everyone in the cast because there's a lot of us, and if I miss any names out, I'll be shouted at.
And tickets now on sale.
Tickets are now on sale though. Soho Place website at Soho Place, not Soho Theatre, which is also a lovely theatre.
That was Nathan Queeley-Dennis, winner of the Bruntwood Prize for Playwriting for 2022. Before him was Patrick Hughes, winner of the Northwest Original New Voice Award and Residency, and before him was Rochelle Fong, winner of the Bruntwood Prize International Award. For more information about the Bruntwood past and present, details of how to enter, and resources for playwrights, see www.writeaplay.co.uk. To learn more about the Royal Exchange Theatre, go to www.royalexchange.co.uk.
You've been listening to a podcast from British Theatre Guide. For more information, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.